What's going on, everyone? So, Jeremy Sochan was set to play in the Eurobasket, which Victor Wembanyama is actually sitting out this year. But you see guys like Giannis and Jokic and, Luka Doncic and all these guys that are heading over to go play in that Eurobasket. And Jeremy Sochan, he was expected to go and represent Poland, but that is no longer the case because of a calf strain. He suffered an injury, and he announced himself that he's not going to be able to help Poland. And there's a couple things about this I want to talk about. So first off, I want to read the statement from Sochan. So he said, "I'm beyond disappointed to share that due to a calf strain, I have to step away from representing Poland at Eurobasket." Sochan posted on his Instagram story, "I've been working so hard my whole offseason for this, and the past several weeks of training and competing with the national team have been incredible. This is a special group of guys, and I was really looking forward to being a part of this team." So again, because of a calf strain, he is unable to do that. And then it was also followed up, "Fortunately, my doctor expects a full recovery in time for training camp for the upcoming NBA season. I want to thank my teammates, coaches, and all staff, and especially the fans here in Poland for their support. I appreciate you all, and please know, while I can't be there, I'll be supporting Poland all the way." So again, a couple things, right? One, not good. You don't want to hear him having a calf strain. Like, that's unfortunate. Luckily, again, he says that according to his doctor, he should be ready to go for training camp. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that injury, right? We've seen guys, right, that very recently, especially last season, a lot of calf strains ended up leading into, Achilles tears and all that stuff. Knock on wood, you don't want to see that with Jeremy Sochan, right? Hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can go in this season. But it's concerning for a couple of reasons, right? Because one, you never want to see a calf strain. You want to take your time. Luckily, it's early enough to where even if he can't be ready for training camp or go into the season, right, at most he misses a game or two, or maybe he's ready to start the season, but he misses preseason and stuff like that. But that would suck too, because you're going to have the full offseason, full training camp of integrating De'Aaron Fox with this team, integrating Luke Cornett and Kelly Olynyk and Dylan Harper and all that stuff. So it would be nice to have Jeremy Sochan there, ready, prepared, and good to go, right? Spurs are going to be cautious with his return, but hopefully he's able to return on time. Perfect. That would be great. But this just is a year that it feels like Sochan's last chance with the Spurs, at least. He's young enough and talented enough, like, he'll get a spot, but is he ever going to be that starting level guy? Is he ever going to be that guy that you can slot in as your starting 4 or your starting 3 or whatever? Like, he is that Swiss Army knife type guy, can make plays, can, defend 1 through 5 for you, can rebound the basketball, right? He's a guy that just, year after year has just been a steady, hey, he's giving you the same level of production every year. But that's also an issue, right? He's giving you the same level of production every year. You're not really seeing the year in and year out growth. Now, part of that, I think, is, not all his fault. I think part of that is the Spurs themselves, right? Like, having that experiment year where they're running him as like their primary point forward. They're running him in like the Draymond role, and he just wasn't ready for that yet. It just wasn't working yet, right? And I just think opportunities and moments and stuff, and, but like, you look at his stat line, you look at, like the field goal attempts and the production, like, it's nearly identical, right? But I also think part of that is on Jeremy Sochan. He's a liability offensively. He doesn't really give you the shooting or whatnot, right? Like, he's a guy that is very limited in what you can do with him out there, at least on the offensive side of things. And unless you start to see some real growth and potential, I don't know where he fits in with this team, right? If you want the defense and versatility, you got a Carter Bryant who, looks like an absolute steal and can slot into either spot, the 3 or the 4 spot, but also is projected to just be better. I mean, he's already better offensively. He can't be any worse than Jeremy Sochan has been the last few years, right? So you already got like a guy that could come in and slot in and take his place. I mean, ideally, in a perfect world at some point, you see Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant, Jeremy Sochan, and Victor Wembanyama, and that's your starting 5, and that's just, you're winning multiple championships, and you're an absolute dynasty. And anytime I talk about Jeremy Sochan, I get these two camps. I get this, like, a bunch of people that are like, he's trash, get him off our team. the guy is a bum, trade him. And then I get the other camp that's like, oh my God, the next Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, move out the way, right? Like this guy, Tim Duncan, who, right? Like it's just like one extremity or the other, right? It is. It's really odd. But, I think he's a good basketball player. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's necessarily somebody that has to be oh my God, he's over the top. I think if they were to trade him this year, I don't think it would hurt the Spurs. I don't think it would matter. I think you'd be fine, right? But I do think he is somebody that could be a valuable kind of rotation piece, but he's going into a contract year. How much is he going to want? I imagine he's not going to want 8 to 12 million a year or something like that. He's probably going to be pushing for that 20 plus million. And he's just not that right now. Now, again, maybe this season, maybe he becomes that or turns into that, or maybe he shows the signs to where it's like, okay, maybe he's still not a $20 million, maybe he's like a 15, 18, right? I don't know. If he comes in and he shoots 37% or 36% from 3-point range, all of a sudden it's like, wow, dude, this guy is really great. But if he's just kind of more of the same, unfortunately, I think you have to move off of him. I think, unfortunately, you're kind of in this position where it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to pay him $20 plus million? Also, what does his market look like? Because if teams aren't willing to pay him a bunch, but there's always that team that's going to think they could do better. There's always that team that thinks that, hey, we have some extra money, let's do that. Or that, hey, he's still young enough to take the flyer on and take the risk on. I don't know if you could pay him $15 to $20 million. I don't. Right? You're going to have Wemby, who's going to need a new contract. You just gave De'Aaron Fox a new contract, right? In another year, you're going to have to start talking a Stephon Castle extension. And then after that is a Dylan Harper extension. You still have Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, all this. This team is going to be expensive and expensive fast. And, Jeremy Sochan, you can't overpay. There's already the argument that you already overpaid for De'Aaron Fox. I kind of think that they were in a position where they kind of had to, but still, right? That's a real question. It's a real concern. So if you're the Spurs, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this kind of plays out. But this really does feel in a lot of ways like his last shot. Like, this is your chance, dude. This is make or break, at least with the Spurs. Again, he's young enough and talented enough. He'll be in the league. He'll be a rotation guy. He'll be somebody off the bench or whatever for a team. But if he wants to be a Spur and be, get the bag and do all those other things, he's going to need to take some pretty significant strides this year that I don't know if he's going to be able to do personally. I never want to sell a young man short. I never want to put somebody into a box. Who knows? He might just ball out this year and we're all just like, there he is, right? But, just based on what we've seen the last 2 years, I think it's probably going to be more of the same. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. As always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.